Demon Slayer, didn't heard about it, like, never saw this. If you never saw Demon Slayer, give it a try. It's a really worthy watch, even if you don't like the story for real. The art direction and just like the aesthetic is something that like you need to check out. Like, the beauty of Shinobu Kocho. Actually, I really love the breathing technique of Shinobu and her presence in Demon Slayer. So I'm actually curious to kind of like know get to know more a little bit about this character. And yeah, let's check this out. Subscribe to Maddie, not the bad guy. Leave a like, share the love.
When it comes to slaying demons in Kimetsu no Yaiba, demon hunters only have a certain amount of weaknesses that they can exploit during their hunts, with the most used of these weaknesses being the sun, with many members resorting to either exposing demons to direct sunlight, or decapitating them with a Nichiren blade, or a changing color blade, with the latter of the two methods requiring an immense amount of physical strength, as demons have extremely thick necks that only get thicker the more powerful they are. So, with the weaker bodied members of the demon slaying corps, they need to find new and creative ways to kill demons. And the best example of this is the mistress of poison herself, Shinobu Kocho, the insect pillar.
This is cool. This is cool.
This video contains spoilers for Kimetsu no Yaiba up to the most current chapter in the manga as of this video's release. So if you aren't caught up with the manga, and you don't want to be spoiled, watch this video at your own discretion. Shinobu Kocho is one of the top skilled demon slayers in the Demon Slayer Corps, achieving the title of Pillar, though she is a unique case, as she likely inherited her position as a pillar from her late sister, acting as her Sugoku or successor, as Shinobu herself lacks the strength to behead a demon, let alone any of the higher moon demons, which is a requirement for becoming a pillar, though she does have a workaround for her weakness, and it's one that she developed on her own through her own medical expertise. So it is always possible that Shinobu herself slayed up to 50 demons to earn her title as a pillar, but it is more likely that she inherited it from her sister, as a lot of Shinobu's character is all about her inferiority complex and the burden of feeling like she has to be someone she's not. But before we get too into that, we should discuss the meaning behind her name. So Shinobu Kocho is a pretty simple name. First you have her given name, Shinobu, which is a dictionary term for the word shinobi or ninja, with Shinobu usually being used as a more feminine version of the word. And Shinobu seems to have been given this name due to the fighting style she had assigned to her, with it mimicking the ninjas of real life, with her excelling in speed and stealth, allowing her to
This is really stupid, but like, yeah, it makes sense. Shinobu, Shinobi, yeah, no, like...
appear and disappear without a noise, and being stealthy enough to sneak up on both people who have enhanced senses, along with demons. But also, this mixes well with her uses of assassination tools, like poison, to compensate for her being less effective in direct combat, as Shinobi and ninja of real life would use a multitude of tools for the exact same reason. Then you have Shinobu's family name, Kocho, which directly translates to butterfly, hence why her estate is called the Butterfly Estate, and why her and her sister Kane had a butterfly aesthetic to their designs. But it also plays into Shinobu's own fragileness.
I really like the aesthetic of Shinobu. Like, it's just a vibe, you know, like, but it's a cool vibe. It's a beautiful vibe, I believe.
Given her weak body, as she is metaphorically as weak as a butterfly, which was the inspiration for her own unique demon slaying style, the Breath of the Insect. Breath of the Insect is a slaying style that, due to its unique case, is not about cutting or slicing, but more about thrusting and stabbing, with a heavy focus on fluid movements and speed. And due to it being invented by Shinobu, the Nichiren blade does not change colors for a wielder of this style. It's also a style that derives from both the Breath of the Water and Breath of Flower, given that bugs require both to survive, and her sister was a Breath of the Flower user, so Shinobu learned from her from some degree. Now, unlike her pillar peers, this breath style does not have any forms or styles that it works off of. Instead, it's a variety of dances, given that movement is a key component in the Breath of the Insect. In fact, a lot of what Shinobu does seems to be based on the logic that shot Cassius Clay, also known as Muhammad Ali, into mega stardom in boxing. That being, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, the hands can't hit what the eye can't see. So, let's start with her first dance, that being the Dance of the Butterfly, Caprice. The Dance of the Butterfly is an attack in which the user lunges towards a target with a swift single motion, striking them 3 to 4 times, injecting them with poison on each strike, though the motion itself is supposed to leave the target bewildered to some degree, and almost in a blissful ignorant state before both the effects of the strike and poison take hold. Thus, Shinobu named it Caprice, which is a sudden and uncontrollable change in behavior, which also fits thematically with the scene in which it takes place, as before the attack, Shinobu talks to the demon like she's going to befriend it, keeping up a cheery smile all the while before unleashing a painful and sudden barrage of strikes, leaving the demon writhing on the ground as the poison takes its life. Then next you have the Dance of the Bee Sting, True Flutter, which is a single strike attack in which the user
really
dashes
cool.
forward at an extreme speed, stabbing a target once with a piercing blow to the head that they cannot block. This attack is used to inject a large dose of poison directly into a single area on a demon. The name and use of the attack seems to be based on how an actual bee's sting works. As you see, bees, specifically honeybees, when they sting something they perceive as a threat, due to the shape of their stingers, they have a high chance of hurting themselves when they pull out, usually ripping out their stomachs along with the stinger, making most bee stings a one-time use for the creature, though the stinger does leave behind a bit of venom in the wound, causing a stinging pain, thus the name Stinger. And thus, the attack based off a bee sting is a single strike which leaves behind a high dose of poison. Then the next dance in Shinobu's arsenal is the Dance of the Dragonfly Compound Eye Hexagon, which is an attack that seems to be a combination of both the bee sting and butterfly dance, which the user dashes forward and strikes a target in 6 different vital spots, piercing through or going around any defense. The purpose of this attack seems to be increasing the amount of poison flowing through a target's body, in hopes of increasing the chance of crippling them. Now this attack seems to be based on a few different things, starting first with the compound eye part of the name, which is based on the multi-layered eyes seen in insects like dragonflies. The purpose of these eyes being that it allows the insect to see in a multitude of directions independently from.
This is really like detailed when like with all these references. I didn't knew that Demon Slayer was so deep into like their characters and within like the symbolism that they are shaped in. Like, this is really cool. Like,
and this is interpreted through how Shinobu looks for and targets multiple vital parts when striking with this attack. And the dragonfly aspect of this attack seems to be based on a dragonfly's own unique movement pattern, with Shinobu's multiple strikes coming out really quickly, seeming to match up well with the dash or zigzag motion of a dragonfly's movement. But most importantly, throughout Japanese history, the dragonfly has become sort of a symbol of agility, bravery, and overcoming adversity, having its name literally translate to the victory insect, which matches quite well with the context of the story in which Shinobu uses this move, as she is pulling out all the stops to try to put down one of the High Moon demons, who keeps commenting on her bravery and determination throughout the fight, while also seemingly mocking her and showing false compassion for her actions. And when we later get the context that Shinobu knew going into this fight that she would die, you understand the true bravery of these attacks, with her luring Doma into a false sense of security. Though this wasn't her final attack, no, that belongs to the Dance of the Centipede, 100-legged zigzag, which is an attack that utilizes the user's full speed, as they move in a zigzag pattern to build up momentum along with making themselves nearly impossible to follow, and ending with a final piercing strike to the neck, with an injection of poison along with the built-up momentum moving both the target and the user up into the air at full speed. Now the name of this attack seems to be based off the Japanese centipede, which roams through Japan hunting small prey and fending off predators with its own poison. And the movement pattern of the Japanese centipede is that of a zigzag shape, which harkens back to the zigzag motion of Shinobu's attack. It also appears that in Japanese mythos, the centipede represents that of immortality and pure evil, which is exactly what Shinobu is fighting with this attack. And it also may be in reference to Omokade, the Japanese yokai, which is a massive poisonous centipede which was slain by having an arrow pierce its eye, which I bring up only due to the importance of the eyes of Doma, as the eyes of Doma are very special, as they are this beautiful rainbow color, along with demonstrating what rank of High Moon he is. And also during this fight, his eye area is often used to demonstrate the effects of Shinobu's poison during the fight, and is the first place pierce when she attacks with her Nichiran during the fight. And of course the fact that the arrow that pierces Omakade's eye only crippled him and he had to be hacked apart afterwards afterwards, which is very similar to the fate of Doma. Earlier I mentioned Shinobu's Nichirin,
This is really
which is
cool.
a blade specially designed to work specifically with Shinobu's style, having most of the blade completely removed, leaving just a sliver of it at the base and the tip of the sword. It resembles actually more of a needle or a stinger than a sword, and given its purpose is to inject things with poison, that makes sense. Though it can only deliver up to 50 milligrams of poison at a time, when she sheaths it, it reloads as she specially modified her sword sheath. Though this isn't any ordinary poison that she loads into her sword, it's actually a special compound made by Shinobu herself, which heavily focuses on wisteria toxins, which is a flower that wards off demons due to it smelling awful to them and being poisonous for them to consume. The reason for this being seems to be based on both the fact that wisteria plants actually have a bit of toxicness in their seeds that are poisonous to humans as well, but also the Japanese lore about the wisteria plant being the flower of life and having a sweet and intoxicating aroma. So those who throw away their humanity feel the reverse effects of this plant. Though Shinobu's medical expertise doesn't just stop at creating poison, she's also incredibly talented at crafting medicine and doing thorough body exams on people. But most impressively, Shinobu is also capable of extreme body modification, as she heavily altered her own body, infusing her bloodstream with wisteria poison, making it toxic to all those who drank it. And with help of the demon doctor Tamayo, she was able to go beyond just her blood, grafting this poison to every fiber of her body, mixing it not only with her internal organs, but even her own cellular makeup. And the reason that Shinobu felt the need to resort to such an extreme level of body modification, even though she says herself that she doesn't understand the lasting consequences of the procedure, is because of how fragile and small her body actually was. Because you see, Shinobu's small body is a big part of her character. This lack of physical strength and size makes her life immensely more difficult. She always has been too small or too weak and had to sit and watch as people she loved died, be it her family, her sister, or even her own successors. And this helplessness helped Shinobu realize how fragile happiness was, describing happiness as resting on a thin sheet of glass, and once broken, it cannot be fixed. But in losing her own happiness, she realized how many people have yet to lose theirs, how many people's glass is yet to break, and thus she wanted to hunt down demons that destroyed lives and protect those that still had happiness, making a promise to Kane to try to end this bloodshed as quickly as possible, though this promise became more of an obligation to Shinobu, as when it comes to killing demons, it's not a if you can, but more of a thing you have to do. Though again, due to her small size, no matter how hard Shinobu struggled, she was not great at demon slaying, causing her to damn her own body and idolizing people like Yome for their massive physical strength. And this caused her to develop a bit of a bitter personality, becoming somewhat sadistic and blunt in conversations. She was developing a bit of a inferiority complex, and she was really letting it show. Though, after the death of her sister, Shinobu's outward appearance changed. Not only did she don the uniform of her late sister, but she also adopted her personality as well, wearing a big fake smile and trying to achieve her sister's goal of living at peace with demons, even though she didn't fully agree with it. But inside, the inferiority complex only festered and grew more and more, made worse by the dying words of Kane, begging her sister to quit the demon slaying corp and maybe trying to settle down and get married to achieve that happiness that they had lost. Because even though she tried her very hardest to keep up with everyone else, she would lose to the demon that killed Kane. Though Kane never actually finished that last part, Shinobu believes she held back her final words as not to hurt her. These words caused Shinobu's own inferiority complex to fester and twist into fury and anger inside her. This anger that she let out on the demons that she hunted, offering them false salvations before melting them with torturous poison, and viewing all demons as scum, falsely championing her sister's dream of living at peace with them. Though, after meeting Nezuko and Tanjiro, her mindset changed. She felt that her sister's dream might actually be more achievable than she originally thought. Along with this, Tanjiro helped her become more self-aware of her own anger, seeing through her false smile and asking her if she's angry. This self-awareness helped Shinobu sort of overcome a mental hurdle in her own mind, so much so that in her near-death state when fighting Doma, she perceives this aberration of Kane that appeared after she reflected on the final words that had been haunting haunting her for so long. Though instead of this spirit telling her to run or quit the demon corp, instead it encourages her sister, telling her that she needs to defeat this demon. This spirit, in a way, was Shinobu accepting her own flaws and pushing her body past its limits, striking Doma with one final attack, and during her final moments, she finally accepts herself for what she is. And in accepting herself, she accepts what she has to do, allowing herself to be completely absorbed by Doma, dying inside him. Though, she does not die a useless death, as due to the previously established extreme body modification, Shinobu forced Doma to willingly ingest 82 pounds of poison, which is 70 times the amount needed to kill the average demon. And though the poison took a bit to kick in, once it did, it fully circulated throughout Doma's body and began to melt him down to the bone, leaving him in a crippled and almost defenseless state, allowing her final successor, Kano, to claim the head of the number 2 Upper Moon demon. This moment was such a beautiful ending to Shinobu as a character, because through her hard work and determination, she was able to take her biggest flaw, her weak body, and turn it into an ultimate weapon against demons. She may never have been able to decapitate Doma on her own, but she is able to claim the victory from beyond the grave. Her only regret being that the poison that put him down wasn't solely her creation. And this whole arc that she goes through in the story is what makes Shinobu such a great character in Kimetsu no Yaiba.
It is
someone who's tragic yet enjoyable to watch, beautiful but absolutely terrifying, and has some of the best back and forth with characters in the series, learning how to tease them in ways that really get to them, or play with their emotions to help suit her benefit. Hopefully, we get to see more of her in stories like one-shots that happen before the events of the story, or maybe even seeing her and Kane hunting a demon together. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos
this
like
was awesome. Makes me love Shinobu even more. What the fuck? Really awesome. Thank you so much, Matty, for the video. Don't forget to leave a like to share the love.